Welcome to the Extreme Mortman podcast, where today the tables are turned. We sit down with the man, the myth, the legend, Howard Mortman. You know his podcast, you know his clips, you know his obsession with the strange, hilarious, and revealing sides of Washington. But how did Howard Mortman become Extreme Mortman? Today we put him in the hot seat. We'll talk about his path through media and politics. We'll share some clips that haven't made it to air, and we'll give you some tips and tricks for navigating the video library like a pro. Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so for you who are joining us maybe for the first time, Howard, and maybe even some of your listeners who have been listening for a while don't know the answer. What is Extreme Mortman?
So Extreme Mortman, and thank you Shannon and Rachel and Barkley, who's joining us remotely. Extreme Mortman is the name of the online column that I wrote when I was at the Hotline, the daily political Bible in American politics, back in the early mid-90s. And the irony of the name is I'm hardly extreme at all. And I wrote one of the first online columns, and the name stuck, and I loved it. And Extreme Mortman just has been that was the name of the hotline. Thanks to C-SPAN now for resurrecting the name Extreme Mortman to rebrand what had been the weekly podcast as Extreme Mortman. So it in itself is a nostalgic look back at the glory days of the hotline.
The glory days of those mid-90s. Yes. When I was in high school. How does comedy intersect with the seriousness of what happens in Washington?
The old saying that issues divide, but images unite. And everybody loves a good laugh. And there's so much. It is possible to have fun with politics. And it's possible to find humor, not necessarily making fun of people, but finding funny moments. If you strip away partisanship and you strip away left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, and you just get united behind, as people, well, people love to laugh. And being able to find comedy has been a passion of mine as a political junkie. But the funnier side of politics I've found so intriguing over the air, both intentional jokes and the unintentional jokes, both the planned dinner speeches, for instance, and things that happen. Not, Rachel, I know you're going to ask me, do I want to embarrass anybody? And the effort is not to embarrass anybody, but to share the joy of funny moments in politics.
And so you've been at C-SPAN for quite some time, but you're not really on C-SPAN now. Right. Have you been on C-SPAN before? Are there clips that we could pull of Howard Mortman in a clip show podcast?
I'm not sure, Rachel and Shannon. What is by the way, before we potentially pull clips that I'm unaware of, you asked how I've been at C-SPAN 15 years, but Rachel, it feels more like 15 and a half years. So I don't know the answer to your, Rachel and Shannon. Let me turn the tables on you, turning the tables on me. Are there clips that you'd want to play?
What was your first time on C-SPAN?
The first time on C-SPAN was 1998. No, I'm sorry. It's not the first time on C-SPAN. The first time on C-SPAN was when I was with the Hotline, and a young Howard Mortman appeared on Washington Journal, as I believe I was a senior editor. I believe the host was J.J. Green. Was my first time taking calls from the C-SPAN viewers.
Okay.
Just one quick point. The caller from the beautiful city of New Orleans makes a point about the workers themselves. I actually applied for a job at UPS about 5 years ago, and I was declined for a job. So I know that these are top quality people who deliver our packages.
And what were you planning to do for UPS?
I was unemployed at the time, and that's something that would have been a fun thing to do for some time, but stood in line, and they never called my number. That's why I don't use them anymore.
Well, he said his goal this morning was nothing else other than to make me and some of you laugh this morning. And
So three things. First of all, thank you to JJ for saying part of my job is joke-oriented. But part of my job on C-SPAN that day was to make the Washington Journal host laugh. And as you could tell, I failed miserably at that task. The UPS joke is, honest to goodness, I was unemployed, and I did apply for a job at UPS. And the reason, Shannon, I wanted to work at UPS is because I love wearing brown shorts. By the way, the caller from Louisiana, it's funny from Louisiana because I tell that joke only occasionally. So that's
Howard in brown pants is why we're happy this is an audio podcast. No,
that's why we're straight. Barkley Kern saying this is why this is an audio podcast. Do I have to repeat the funny lines?
No, I think
okay. All right. I feel like an old Calta cocker here. That's right. He said what? Okay.
So tell us, Howard, in all of your research and using C-SPAN's video library, is one side of the aisle funnier than the other?
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna play C-SPAN here and say yes, of course. No, neither side is funnier than the other side. Both, and by funny, let me broaden that to say enjoyable. I take the joy in being a political junkie and being a policy junkie and not choosing sides. One of the great things about C-SPAN is you don't really care who wins and loses, but you have a stake in this. And so, no, I think neither side is necessarily funnier. Now, they may tell jokes better, they may have better joke writers, but instinctively as human beings, it's not really an acquired. You have to have it inside. Now, there are the members of Congress, former senators. Al Franken comes to mind, who was a great writer and actor on Saturday Night Live and many other places. So he's got the gene in him. He's got the bug of being a great comedy performer. But he's kind of an outlier in that.
So we talk, and anyone who's listened to your podcast knows that you pull clips from the video library. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Barkley, who's calling in from California, to talk to you a little bit about the video library.
Of course, and Barkley, just so you know, we do have a 30-day rule here at the podcast, so you can have to come back in a month.
I value this opportunity, Howard. It's great to talk to you. I know, I listen to your podcast every week. By the way, just to get started, do you know how many episodes there have been of what is now Extreme Mortman?
You know what? What a great! I will say this: we began. I inherited this, and I have to mention the great Steve Scully did the weekly, which it was called up until September 2021, I think, 4 years ago, I think, and it was called the weekly. I wanted to call it the 4 times a month podcast, but that was overruled.
You've made that joke on this podcast.
Because some people say, well, some months have 5 weeks, and so it didn't test well. But I have to point out that in this podcast with the great Shannon and Caitlin producing it, we have never repeated an episode. Every episode, every week for the last 4 or 5 years has been fresh and brand new. So let me just, for the purpose of I went to University of Maryland. As you can tell, math is not a strong suit. I'll just leave it at is that 17 years we've been doing this, I guess. Back to you, Barkley, virtually.
Well, the podcast debuted in January of 2017, as you said, with Steve Scully being the host. So we're coming up on our 9th anniversary. This week's episode will be the 458th episode of the weekly / Extreme Mortman. So congratulations to everyone involved on that. And it's exciting to see what's going on with the podcast. And every week, Howard, you look through the C-SPAN video library, which is available online at cspan.org. You talk about that a lot. How did you get started looking through the archive?
Well, I love the video archive for this reason, for 2 reasons. One, when you find something in the C-SPAN video library, you are finding it for the first time. If you find something on YouTube, for instance, and YouTube is great, wonderful, but you are finding a video that someone else has already discovered. I love the primary source. I love the eureka moment of finding something for the first time and sharing it and clipping it. But also, this might be the larger point, is that so much of my appreciation and loving of politics comes from the last 3-4 decades. Going back, I was born when Johnson was president. So basically everything that I remember is in the video library of politics. So it's quite a rush to be able to go through and say, I remember something happening, and going through and then finding that video and putting it together. So it's a neat feeling to be able to connect what's in your own mind, my own political junkie mind, with what we actually have video on. And what is it, like over 300,000 hours of video now in the video library? Basically anything you might remember in politics, we will have there. So it is a perfect fit for political junkies.
And how much time do you spend every week when you're prepping for the podcast, going through the archives?
So I have to, at this point, I want to put in a big plug for Shannon and Caitlin. I'm not afraid to answer questions. I am not weird. This is no holds barred. And I appreciate the grilling. And I brought my attorney with me to answer some of Barkley's questions. They are tough but fair. the writing, the clipping, from the idea to the actual submitting the script with the clips to Caitlin and Shannon takes me about 14 or 15 hours. That includes the writing, the finding, the searching, transcribing, and the concept and editing. So my process starts about 14, 15 hours of work. I love working in the morning, so like as soon as I wake up. I then send it to Caitlin and Shannon. Actually, I'll turn it over to Shannon now to walk you through how much staff time it takes here at C-SPAN Radio to do this.
Well, thank goodness we had a wonderful intern. If they're listening, Birdie, we really appreciated all the amazing clips you pulled for us while we were indebted to their service. It was a great time. And
when Birdie left, we said bye-bye, Birdie, right? I'm not the first one for that.
No, you actually.
We thought about saying
yeah,
that.
we thought about
saying
it. You showed some restraint, which
we
unlike me.
some restraint.
Don't count me in for that. Okay, back to you, Shannon.
It doesn't take too much on our end to, there's no real fixing necessary because the scripts come in pretty perfect, I'm going to say. So it's really just, putting your sound to those clips and making it sound seamless. And then, here we are with the finished product. So
I have to say that I love doing this. I totally love doing the podcast, but I'm hardly a professional podcaster. We've had people like Justin Robert Young has been on the podcast a couple of times. He is so great at the craft. And he's a listener and he's really funny. He does podcasting for a living. I don't do that. I mean, that's part of my job here. But for me, it's the construction of it. And thank you, Shannon. I love the writing of it. It's a whole different kind of writing I've never done before. So that's my part of that.
Well, Howard, you do a great job combing through the archives. You always say that we can do the same thing, and I just did. I searched Howard Mortman in the C-SPAN video archive, and I'm telling you, folks, out in the audience, check it out. I'm looking back to your first appearances, and the Washington Journal interview that you referenced was from June 1st. 1999. There's a dashing thumbnail clip of a young Howard Mortman, and I love how the archive, presents the facts about these programs. It says first aired June 1st, 1999. Last aired June 1st, 1999.
Oh my God.
So clearly,
I resonated with the audience. There was audience demand.
But it is on the same results page in the search engine as the funniest celebrity in Washington appearance you made also in 1999. And I believe that was discussed in one of the more recent episodes of Extreme Mortman. And I know you said that you ultimately lost out to Senator Joe Lieberman, who, if you want to use the transitive property, goes on to lose to Dick Cheney for vice president in 2020, a year later. So does that make you also less funny than Dick Cheney?
Yeah. Of the three of us, I may be the least funny, but I'm the only one remaining living at this point. So I have that going for me. 1998, the Funny Celebrity Washington contest at DC Improv in front of the brick wall, and thank you, Barkley, for bringing up that horrible moment. The nation still bears the scars of Howard Mortman not doing better in the judging. I will tell you, if I were to judge, I would have given myself a first prize for that. But alas, I was not a judge. I did my own original jokes. I practiced. I was with the hotline, and I lost out to many people, including the eventual winner, former senator, late senator, Democrat and independent from Connecticut, Joe Lieberman, who, great guy, funny guy. Staff wrote his jokes. I have no staff to write my jokes. This is all original material. So
that sounds like an excuse, Howard.
Yeah, it's not, I want to, we believe
you got to bring the real humor if you want to go up against Senator Lieberman.
I think you're right. I think all my entire Estes Kefauver set didn't really resonate well. So I got to start get rid of my Estes Kefauver joke. Okay,
but I want to.
Yeah, sorry.
November 3rd, 1999, the funniest celebrity contest at the Improv. We have a portion of that clip. I think.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry about that. Got to make room for my band, which is coming up here. So probably. Actually, can I ask the first 10 to 15 rows just to move back a little bit? My band's coming up. Is Richard Siegel still here, by the way? Is Richard still here? Thanks for blowing out the ears of the judges tonight. I think they're going to be ringing for the next 5 minutes. Won't be able to hear this. Welcome to the second half of the show. It is 2 a.m. and this is the McGovern slot now. but that's great. Welcome to the Child Welfare League of America. It's a great cause, Child Welfare League of America. Let's see. Child welfare. It's a horrible disease. I hope we can find a cure. But what a great crowd out here tonight. Look at all the people. It's sold out. Look at all the pundits out here. Give yourselves a hand. All the pundits out here. Wow. But wait a minute. If you are here tonight, I just have one question. Who the hell is on TV? Oh, I know. John Fund. Of course, we have a lovely group of judges here tonight, nearly half a dozen. If things get a little slow, we can just take a break and tape a hardball segment down here. Actually, Chris Matthews, host of Hardball, was supposed to be a judge here tonight. He had to pull out at the last minute. There was I guess I could tell you, there was a kind of a disagreement that we had. Remember how anti-Clinton Chris was during impeachment? Well, he just won't give it up. Tonight we wanted to call him a judge. He wanted to be called a trier of fact. So just didn't work out. Actually, Steve Scully doesn't know this. Steve Scully, the host of C-SPAN's Washington Journal, is here tonight as a judge. Now, there's a problem, though, with Steve being here. If Steve's here, there's no one answering all the viewer calls that are going to Washington Journal right now. So I've secretly arranged with the producers of C-SPAN's Washington Journal that all the calls that Steve normally would receive on air, they would come to me here on stage. So let me, if I could, just set up for a second to show you. I have, of course, the cell phone, so I can answer all the viewer calls to C-SPAN. I have, good, this is here. I brought this. The C-SPAN Washington Journal mug, just to make Steve feel at home as we go through this. And, of course, we have one heavily highlighted newspaper here. So the viewers at home can see this. This is Richmond Times-Dispatch. That's all right, Steve. So let's see if there's any calls yet. If any calls that come in. Let's see if anything here. Our first call. Hello, C-SPAN, Washington Journal. Can I help you? I'm sorry? Sorry, ma'am, I can't hear. Can you turn your TV down? I'm sorry, you have Chris Matthews on. Turning it down isn't going to help. All right. Boy,
Howard, do you stand by all of those jokes still?
Well, some of them, yeah, Barkley, your reaction, Barkley.
It holds up. It holds up.
It holds up. The trier of fact joke just always kills. That's it. Some of that's good. I will say I really enjoyed doing that, and it was fun. I truly believe I was funnier then than I am now. Some of the material doesn't age. Some of it's beautiful, and those again were all C-SPAN jokes that I told 20-some years before I went to work for C-SPAN, and Steve Scully was indeed a judge back then. Barkley?
Well, I was... Sorry.
He's still floored by your jokes.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from that thought.
Your sides have split, I can tell, and you've thrown your head back and roaring laughter.
We're going to have to wrap it up. Well, that really was a blast from the past, Howard, and we appreciate that. And all the work you do, and everyone taking a look through the archive every week. You really expose what a great resource it is for folks interested in pretty much any major public affairs event that's taken place in the last 40 plus years. So thanks for keeping that out in front of the people through this podcast. And I'll throw it over to Rachel.
And Rachel, can I just say before he goes to you, and the serious side of this, yes, we're having fun and all that. The serious side of this is, as Barkley said so well, to demonstrate the value that people get by searching in the video library and learning things. This is all for free. This is like everything else. We are C-SPAN, and Rachel is in charge of business here at C-SPAN, but we are a public service. We're a nonprofit. We want people searching, diving in, finding your own gems. I love finding it, but I shouldn't be the only one. I want everybody to see things for the first time, and this is all available for free online, clippable and searchable. You can have fun with it, but you also be serious with it and find policy and everything Congress has done. Everything C-SPAN has covered, basically, is in the C-SPAN video library. So this is all fun. It's a great it's a really cool podcast to work on, but the business side of this is to show people, find anything you want. Here's Rachel Katz.
Well, I want to get new business cards that just say Rachel Katz in charge of business.
In charge of business.
So thank you for that.
It's Rachel Katz in charge of business cards. Actually.
That's right.
I should have
Thank
finished
you.
the sentence.
And if I am in charge of business, I will say that anyone is able to search the video library for free because of our partnerships with the cable companies, the satellite companies, and now the big streaming companies that fund C-SPAN and carry our networks on their air and allow us to do things like have the video library open to everybody. You mentioned that there's like 300,000 hours of video on the video library. So how do you possibly keep track of all these clips? How do you know what to look for? How you keep it all, I feel like, in your head, but how do you just approach something so large?
When I have an idea, I can't wait to act on it. The premise of this podcast is to connect what's happening today with what we already have video on. So when an idea comes, I truly can't wait. It's like a kid opening Christmas presents. And this podcast is on Christmas. We're airing this, by the way, and 3 out of the 4 voices you hear are from Jews. So we hope you've enjoyed our that theme here. But no, when an idea hits, and you can go through and find it. Now, a lot of ideas I want to do, and either I don't get a chance to do it just because of timing, or often the audio, and well, 2 things. We have to have video to support an idea, and I toss away a lot of ideas if it just doesn't work and there's nothing really interesting or demonstrative or to teach or to dazzle people with. And there's a couple guests I have in mind, a couple listeners, like Tevi Troy we've had on, and he's a presidential historian. I love when he reacts like, I didn't know this. That's like a great moment. But also, it's an audio podcast. There's no video. So not only does it have to really work and to tell a story, but it can't be something you can only watch. The audio has to ring as well as the video. So it does make it complicated, but in a fun kind of way over the years.
So what is one of your all-time favorite funny clips from C-SPAN?
Well, Rachel Katz, it's a fabulous question. I have an answer. One of my favorite all-time funniest moments is British Prime Minister Tony Blair addressing Congress July 17th, 2003. I remember it as if I'm just doing an intro to it right now.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my thrill on receiving this award was only a little diminished on being told that the first Congressional Gold Medal was awarded to George Washington for what Congress called his wise and spirited conduct in getting rid of the British out of Boston. On our way down here, Senator Frist was kind enough to show me the fireplace where in 1814 the British had burnt the Congress Library. I know this is kind of late, but sorry.
So I'm not a fan of British humor, just so for disclosure purposes.
Just in general?
In general, I don't really care for British humor, but I thought that was hilarious, and the timing there. So despite my dislike of British humor, I never get British humor. Monty Python, obviously hilarious, but nothing else entertains me. I was entertained by that moment from Tony Blair in Congress.
And what is one of your favorite Howard Mortman appearances on C-SPAN?
Well, actually, since it's Christmas, instead of Howard Mortman, let's play the Elena Kagan clip we played for the John Max episode, the Supreme Court Comedy Festival, and one of the funniest, spontaneous moments ever on C-SPAN, June 29th, 2010. Elena Kagan, Supreme Court confirmation here in Caitlin, an exchange with Senator Lindsey Graham.
Now, as we move forward and deal with law of war issues, Christmas Day bomber, where are you at on Christmas Day?
Senator Graham, that is an undecided legal issue, which, I suppose I should ask exactly what you mean by that. I'm assuming that the question you mean is whether a person who was apprehended in the United States is...
No, I just asked you where you're at on Christmas.
You know, like all Jews, I was probably at a Chinese restaurant.
Great answer. Great answer.
You know, I could almost see that one coming, and I thought,
Me too. So you were celebrating
Senator Schumer explained this to me earlier.
Yeah, he did.
If I might, no other restaurants are open.
Right.
Senator Schumer explained that one to me earlier, Rachel Katz.
Well, Howard, you were very played a politician in your answer to that one and diverted and just answered a question you wanted to answer instead of the one I asked. So now I'm going to go back to the one I asked, which was, what is your favorite time of a Howard Mortman appearance on C-SPAN?
Let me think about that for a second. Could it be 2002, perhaps, on, let me think, WMAL radio on Jennifer Street in Upper Northwest Washington, D.C.? I was able to co-host. Rachel, tell me if I'm heading in the right direction with this. I think it was co-hosting with the great David Korn on WMAL radio, and it was so fun. I even invited C-SPAN cameras to come in, which is why we have a clip of it even as we speak.
Well, then let's play that clip.
Before 11 o'clock.
Before 11 o'clock.
Okay.
I can either play all three of them now, and then you can just talk for the rest of the time. I can play one, and you leave me 2 minutes at the end. It's up to you how you want to do the last.
Let's play them all now because we'll get Jim settled and figure out what bit we want to do.
Hey, Jim.
I can't begin to tell you how excited I am to invite you
briefcase.
to the grand
Gosh, you got props?
The great Jim Morris.
You mean it's that all up here?
And doubled the size of our rug
You know,
department.
by the way, the banter has to be of a high quality because C-SPAN is here and they don't pick up the commercials. They pick up what we say during the breaks.
Okay.
All right, this is why, to Barclay's question, this is why God invented the C-SPAN video library, to hold on and maintain moments, glorious moments like that, and unintelligible, brilliant moments like that. Okay, back to you guys.
Well, as we're going to wrap up here and let people go and celebrate their holidays, what does, other than Extreme Mortman, what are some of your favorite podcasts? What do you listen to, Howard Mortman?
Well, I listen to Shannon. Let me pose it to Shannon. How many podcasts does Shannon Rice produce here?
We have 15, not all in production, but there's 15 of them.
So I would say I have 15 favorite podcasts here at C-SPAN.
Good answer.
Thank you. Barclay, what are your, of the 15, which are your favorite 15 C-SPAN produced podcasts?
Well, unquestionably Extreme Mortman.
Yay.
I really do. I really want to thank you, Howard, for injecting, I think an appropriate amount of humor. These seem to be sometimes some serious times. It's great and refreshing to hear folks who don't take themselves too seriously, yet at the same time provide a tremendous amount of information. So thanks, Howard, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you, Barclay. Hopefully I'll be seeing you at the Chinese restaurant later on with all the other members of this podcast here. So on Christmas. Rachel, back to you.
Well, I just want you to set up one more clip, maybe
Sure.
your favorite,
Yeah.
since it is Christmas
Yes.
today, before the music that's sort of going to play us out later. Why don't you set up maybe everyone's here's favorite holiday clip that we have in the video library?
1996, I believe, the Christmas lighting ceremony of the National Christmas tree at the White House on the Ellipse. And Bill Clinton is president. He's near the stage with Hillary Clinton. And up comes a great, famous, wonderful singer who goes by the name of Patti LaBelle. And this happened.
Hang all the mistletoe. I'm gonna get to know you better. This Christmas. Where are my background singers? Woo! Oh, baby, and there's the wrong words on the cue cards. I don't know the song.
And that's where we'll leave it for this edition of the Extreme Mortman podcast with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Howard Mortman. If you liked this conversation, make sure to follow Extreme Mortman wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a rating, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who thinks they already know everything about Washington media, because now they've got homework. You can find Howard online at Howard Mortman for more clips, curiosities, and all things Extreme Mortman. Thanks for listening, and happy holidays.